Greetings of peace from Student Affairs Center. I am your Dean of Students, Homer C. Balmes, and once again welcome you to a new episode offering of Clinician Knows 2022. Clinician Knows are well-curated student support video-based content and webinar discussion and sharing about different topics intended for various stakeholders in the university. For this afternoon, our key theme is about health emergency awareness. We invited a very special guest to share about the talk on health emergency awareness. And our speaker is a registered nurse and a medical doctor by profession. He is an alumnus of St. Luke's College of Nursing, Trinity University of Asia, and currently serving as the academic head of TUA St. Luke's College of Nursing. Let us enjoy and learn from Assistant Professor Dr. Mike Daniel F. Tai.
Okay, good day everyone. I'm Dr. Mike Daniel Tai, and I'm here to give you a backgrounder on health emergency preparedness. This will actually be a very short topic, but I would just like for you that at the end of this session, you would actually have a grasp on how to deal with different health emergencies and what are those different types of health emergencies. So let us now proceed with this quote: what you know could save lives. Okay, so in every day of our life, we could have or we could learn some knowledge that could one day save the life of another. Okay, so I hope that that would also be what you will be able to learn and get from this session. Okay, so let us first define what is a health emergency. Okay, so when the term emergency comes into your mind, it is something that is very urgent. Okay, so that's why the definition that's given here is it's a sudden and unexpected medical condition. Okay, which are severe enough that it could put your life in danger or could also pose serious problems, okay, in your different body parts or your different body functions, okay, that could even lead to death, okay, if they are not given enough and proper medical attention. Okay, so that is what a health emergency is. So if you're experiencing something that's very urgent, that can endanger your life, that is a health emergency. Okay, so we actually have different types of your health emergencies. You can have a personal health emergency or a public health emergency. Okay, so when you say that you have a personal health emergency, it only involves a person. Okay, it only involves one person when you talk about personal health emergencies. Okay, so you only deal with one person. But if it is a public health emergency, it deals with a multitude of people. Okay, experiencing health emergencies at the same time. Okay, so those are your types of health emergencies. Okay, so let us go to them one by one. Okay, so here are examples of your personal health emergencies. So if you have experienced being bitten by a pet before or a stray dog, okay, it is an example of a personal health emergency. Okay, your animal bites are personal health emergencies. Okay, whether it causes injury to you or not. Okay, because if that animal is infected, okay, even if you have a minor injury only, you could still be at risk. Okay, bleeding is also a personal health emergency, especially if it is massive, because it can cause a lot of blood loss that can actually lead to, okay, possible death. Okay, because your blood is very important to deliver different substances that are crucial to your survival. Okay, especially oxygen, which we need to survive. Okay, another would be, you can see here an X-ray of a fracture. Okay, so fractures are also examples of your personal health emergencies. Okay, so for this one, okay, pardon me, you have a fracture that can actually damage the different parts, okay, of the area that is exposed to the fracture. This fractured bone can injure some of the blood vessels, some of the muscles, and that is why it is also considered a health emergency. And it also causes excruciating pain. Okay? So I will not be dealing with the specifics because it is not at your level yet. Okay? So another would be if you have a relative or you experiencing cardiac arrest, that's also a personal health emergency. Of course, your heart is having a problem and it is one of your vital organs. Okay? Difficulty of breathing is also an example of a personal health emergency. Okay? Now, experiencing burns is also another example of a personal health emergency. Because if we have burns, it can actually interfere with a lot of your bodily processes, especially if the burns, okay, are located all throughout your body. Okay, if you have burns that are at a specific percentage of your body surface area, it can actually cause different bodily disruptions. So let us not be, okay, too complacent about burns. If you have a burn, okay, consider it as a personal health emergency. Okay, so those are examples of your personal health emergencies. Now, when it is at a larger scale, you now call it a public health emergency. Now, you will be wondering with the examples that will be given here, because some of them might not look that like they are a health emergency. Okay, pardon me for that. Because they are not directly related to health. But remember this, anything that causes injury to the body is considered an emergency. Again, anything that can cause serious injury to the body is considered an emergency. So let us take that in mind when we look at the types of public health emergencies. Okay, one of the types are your natural disasters. So if you have, for example, a flooding, it's a public health emergency. Why? When there's a flood, first and foremost, there is the possibility of drowning. Okay? And drowning is, okay, a personal health emergency because it can interfere with your breathing. Okay? So that is a public health emergency because it can involve a lot of people. Okay? Earthquakes can cause serious physical injury, which might cause fractures, which might cause bleeding, which is why it is considered a public health emergency. Okay, it's a personal health emergency on a larger scale. Okay, typhoons can also cause serious physical injury. That is why it is also considered a public health emergency. Okay, biological events like, for example, you have, okay, a contaminated water supply that can cause mass hospitalization, or if you have massive food poisoning, okay, that's a biological event that can cause a lot of people to get sick. That is a public health emergency. Okay? The pandemic that we have is a biological event that is also considered a public health emergency. So this one is an example of your COVID-19 virus. Okay? And lastly, we have your man-made disasters like wars, terrorism, as well as exposure to nuclear radiation are man-made disasters that can cause serious physical injury. Okay? That can, also threaten the health of an individual. Okay? So these are the types of your health emergencies. Now, as someone, who is not of the healthcare profession, what can you do? Always remember this, no matter who you are, with just a little bit of knowledge, you can always help. Okay, so how could you prepare for a health emergency? Okay, the first thing is to learn basic first aid. Usually, when you talk about basic first aid, this is when you provide, preliminary measures in case of an injury. So, for example, you have a patient who had a wound, first thing that you do, if the wound is not too big, it's to wash it with running water, to prevent any, debris or to release any debris from the wound, and then to apply pressure to the area. Okay, that is why you have tight bandages, because tightening the area or applying pressure to the area actually closes some of your blood vessels that could lead to massive bleeding. Okay, so you're actually applying pressure to the area to lessen the bleeding. Okay, so basic first aid, if it's a wound, you can wash the wound in running water, and then you apply pressure. Okay, so that would be a common basic first aid that you can learn. Another is if you have someone who is unconscious, you need to also learn how to take your pulse rate. Okay, that's one thing that you can learn. It's very easy to do. If you have a clock, you can take it for 1 minute, and you can look at the thumb area, at the wrist area, near the line of the thumb, you can actually press on there and you can feel the pulse. Okay. In the healthcare setting, you call that the radial pulse. So you try to, look for the pulse and you try to count it. Okay. You try to count it for 1 minute. Usually the normal is 60 to 100 beats per minute. Okay, so it's less than that, then it's best to bring the patient to the nearest emergency room. Now, if the patient has no pulse, no heartbeat, then you can start, and if the patient is unconscious, if you are well trained, you can start doing, CPR or cardiopulmonary resuscitation, wherein you will be pumping into the chest area, pressing deeply, to initiate circulation while the heart is not beating. Okay? So that's an example of your first aid. Okay? You also have to always have a first aid kit available, which could contain bandages, basic medications like pain medications and fever medications as well. Okay? And you should also always have an antiseptic or, okay, a disinfectant. Thirdly, you can prepare an emergency overnight pack. So it's a bag. So it's your go-to bag for any natural disasters. It should contain some of your basic clothing, some of your, okay, some food, water, and some of your basic necessities as well. Okay, and it should also contain some medication. So it would be your emergency overnight pack whenever you are exposed to natural disaster, so that you would be prepared in case a natural disaster happens in your area and you have a bag which contains all of your necessities for one whole day. Okay, and lastly, of course, we always need to keep emergency numbers handy, and we should always follow reliable sources of social media, radio, and TV for any updates and announcements. Okay, so emergency numbers are very important because as laymen, we don't have access to all types of healthcare related stuff, and we need to be able to contact professionals to be able to help us. Okay, so just knowing all of these, it's already a big help in cases of a health emergency. And okay, as someone who has learned this, I hope that you'd also be able to partake of this so that we could decrease mortalities in health emergencies. Okay, so that's it for our talk for today. Thank you everyone for listening, and I hope that you've learned something throughout this session. Okay, so thank you once again and have a great day.
Thank you very much, Doc Tai, for very practical insights and inputs on how to handle and manage health emergencies. Indeed, we learned much from your sharing and discussion. Let us equip ourselves more about these health emergencies to help eventually save lives in the future. And here we end our another Clinician Knows offering for this afternoon. Please stay tuned for more learning insights and key discussion inputs by following our Student Affairs Center Facebook and YouTube pages. You can get a certificate by answering the evaluation link posted in our social media accounts. Thank you very much, and may God bless you and your family always.